Welcome to the second episode of the Saturday Sports Shift, of course, the official NASCAR iRacing FedEx League podcast. I'm your host, Ethan Trendler, and my co host, Brody Webster. So, of course, it is a brand new week in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx League. It's actually Preseason Thunder Week. The Season 5 action is just about officially underway. We, of course, had some Grand National Preseason Thunder action that we had last night. And tonight, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll have 3 sessions of Cup Series Preseason Thunder starting at Daytona. So it's a very, very exciting weekend here on this Saturday. Very rare Saturday that we do have on-track action going on when we have the podcast going on, but that usually happens during speed weeks. All right, Brody, so much action from last night. Just a whole day of preseason thunder we had last night and another one coming up tonight.
Yeah, I think we should get a deep dive into, all that happened last night. And we can start out at Daytona. I think this season, preseason Thunder was a lot cleaner than last season, I will say. That shows a lot of improvement out of the drivers coming into the league. And, just props to everybody for pretty clean racing at Daytona, especially when people are pushing to the max just to try and learn a little bit more, like maybe learning three wide, how to push, how to take pushes, and honestly, not too bad of a showing out of the preseason Thunder at Daytona.
Yeah, of course, it was the first time anyone has been on track in over a month in the entirety of the league. So it was definitely a big warm up session. We saw some Cup Series stars like Matthew White, Cameron Chandler, Sean Rowe mixed into there, as well as the Xfinity Series stars like new driver, of course, to the Xfinity Series, obviously former Cup Series champion Cole Clausen. You got some other new drivers to the initial league, which usually they all start in Grand National. So it was a very exciting night last night. We had 3 sessions at Daytona, then we went to Kern County Speedway, which is brand new to the league, and then we went back to North Wilkesboro, which the Grand National Series will be visiting for the first time ever later this season. So, I mean, we had one super speedway, 2 short tracks. It was definitely a good mix-up there. Tonight we, of course, have a super speedway in Daytona starting us off. Then we have, like, I don't know what you call it. It's not a short track. It's not a intermediate. It's Rockingham, so I don't know what you would really call that. And then, of course, an intermediate mile and a half tonight at Atlanta. So definitely a whole bigger mix up in tonight's preseason Thunder for the Cup Series.
And now to dive a little deeper into the Grand National Series, let's talk a little bit about some teams here. Obviously there's CWR or Chandler Wilson Racing, owned by Cameron Chandler and Cole Wilson, the previous champs of the last 2 seasons of the Grand National or Xfinity Series. Them coming together, owning a team is kind of shown with the ownership there, with having 2 champions, and of course it's showing in the standings with them getting first. Now, let's talk a little bit about the second team that finished. Team Chevy Motor Club or TCMC, they lost a lot of drivers over the off season, it seems like, with some moving to Cup and some leaving. I don't think we'll see them as high up anymore. But I will say their Cup team is pretty good, so I think they're just a little bit less worried about the Grand National season this season, it seems like. And Ethan, who do you think's really gonna like slide up in there into the second spot out of, like, where TCMC is kind of, I think they're gonna have a little bit of a drawback in the Grand National Series.
I mean, for sure, my own team, Ethan Trendler Racing. Of course, we have multiple Cup and Grand National winners with Jacob Malone in the 66 and Alexander Ortega moving over to ETR in the 38, both full time. Also, going to have Joseph Lewis coming back for us. He made the playoffs last season, and maybe a bit of an underdog, but Eli Franklin in the 24 car this year. He made a lot of starts last season in Grand National for Johnson Motorsports. He gets that big upgrade down to ETR this season, so it's going to be very, very good for him. And we might be still looking for one more driver. We have, of course, a max of 5 full-time drivers, and we currently have 4 right now.
Yep, and that third spot I think is really up for the taking. You can see people like Clear High, Hunsaker Motorsports, Showtime, QM might be up there too with them getting some signings. And I think it'll be a very good battle for the team points in that third spot, honestly.
MNF Racing is definitely a team I would watch. I mean, I'm going to be honest, they don't have the insane talent besides Cole Clausen. Like, they got Ethan McMillan, he was kind of a back runner in the Cup Series. Same thing with Landon Fish, but Landon Fish did actually win a cup race before in season one, but it was at Daytona though. And then of course you got Elijah Miller. I mean, we don't really know much about him. He's never made a start in the league, so I mean that could be a good team. It's definitely a four-car organization, but I don't know if they're going to be too good. I mean, we talked about TCMC. Their only driver is Ryan Kilbashian so far. I mean, there still could be some more that could be signs even after preseason Thunder heading to the year, but you never know. Fat and Friends United, of course, owned by our own Brody Webster. TJ Mooney got on there. Tyler Stevenson. That could be a pretty good organization. Could be underrated. I mean, just a lot of new teams like Nitro Motorsports as well. I could think of. They got Knox Thompson, the team owner, and Warren Cook. That could be maybe like a mid pack team, but I mean, definitely my like top two teams would be Chandler Wilson Racing and ETR.
Yeah, and I think that'll be a very good battle to see the championship in the team standings there because of, obviously one of the biggest is Alexander Ortega switching to ETR. That I feel like is going to be the big move that might move ETR to the top. I'm not sure though, they were down 80 points last season in the team standings, but I think Alexander Ortega really helped out that CWR team along with, the returners of Cole Wilson and everybody else on that team.
Yeah, of course, Ortega made the championship before. I thought he was going to win the title, but then honestly, even kind of gave it away himself by making like a questionable pit strategy call that obviously goes back to haunt him, and then ended up being involved in that big crash later in the race. So, I mean, that he could really help with the team. You got to think about Jacob Malone. He also did win that Miami race, the season finale last season in Grand National, so he could be a very, very strong contender. They both could win multiple races this year and contend for the title.
And now that we're on the topic of, the silly season and all the signings, we just want to welcome in CJ Erdman to the booth, our silly season reporter going to be for this season, letting us know any moves over the off season. And welcome in, CJ. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
So do you want to introduce yourself and, tell us a little bit about yourself and, what you're driving in this season and what team you're on?
Yeah, I guess so. Last season I drove for Clear High Racing for my first full-time Xfinity season, and we made the playoffs. Finished, believe, sixth in the points. Um, had a disappointing end of the round of the playoffs, but this year I'm in the Cup Series with Clear High Racing for my rookie season, the number 94. So that should be interesting. I'm also the co-owner of Questionable Motorsports, which has Caden Perkins on it and Brennan Redford in Cup.
So, CJ, how are you feeling about that cup promotion? I know Eli is probably really happy about bringing you up, especially because you've seen us shown a lot of talent in that Gen 4, kind of really coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, I was a little nervous about going to Cup this season, but I've practiced the Gen 4 a little bit, and I feel pretty optimistic that I might be able to get a couple wins and maybe make a run in the chase.
And also, we have kind of inside details that CWR or Chandler Wilson Racing offered you a spot to Cup, and that's kind of what brought you up there. But you really just decided to stay with Clear High Racing. What was kind of the decision making there of staying with Clear High, or even like thinking about the offer from CWR?
Well, I thought about going to Cup with CWR because the alliance with TCMC would have been pretty strong, and I felt like that would have helped. But with the Eli Tomlin at Clear High Racing, I felt like I had raced there for a long time, and I didn't want to abandon him after so long and this close to the season starting.
Go over some of the biggest changes over the offseason and kind of just give us a breakdown of all the offseason moves, or not all of them, but the most important ones or the really big ones that are really going to make you really think are going to make an impact this season in both the Grand National and the Cup Series.
Yeah, we can do that. So in the Cup, we'll start off Sean Rowe for Ethan Trendler Racing coming to the Cup Series. I think he's going to be one to watch. He showed some promise at the end of last season. It's obviously too late to see what he was going to do in the playoffs, but I think he will make an impact. Um, Maddox Beard coming up from Xfinity to TCMC in the Cup Series. He was pretty good last year. Got eliminated in the playoffs. Had some unfortunate luck at Martinsville and missed a couple races, but I think he's going to be decent. Jacob Quill going to Landon Johnson Motorsports is going to be good. He actually almost went with Questionable Motorsports, but made a last-minute decision to switch teams. For Clear High Racing, Andrew Stacy returns, and Aiden Halls will join Clear High Racing along with myself. Aiden Donahue returns to the Cup Series with Showtime Motorsports, and he is going to be the championship favorite, I would say, for next season. Um, Brandon Pfeiffer comes up to the Cup Series with Giesbrecht Racing Management next season. Caden Perkins, he's going to be a threat for the championship next year. A bit of an underdog right now, but it seems to be have a lot of potential, and I think he's going to be with a chance at the championship. Michael Gregory comes up with Huntsicker Motorsports. Last year ran in Xfinity, nearly made the Final Four. He's going to be a contender to make the chase next year, I believe. Um, Fat and Friends United signs John Wynn to return to the Cup Series in the 11, and Juan Cobbs Jr. as well will join them. In Xfinity, you have Alexander Ortega going to Ethan Chandler Racing and Jacob Malone. A lot of people overlook Jacob Malone's win from Homestead, Miami, just because of all the drama at the end of the race, but he's going to be a threat for the championship next season. Cole Clausen moves back down to the Xfinity Series with M&F Racing, and he will be a threat for the championship, obviously winning the championship in Season 1, I believe. For Chandler Wilson Racing, Max Duffy will join the team. I think he has a lot more potential and is overlooked a lot. Not sure about where he'll be compared to Ortega. I don't think he'll perform quite as well, but I think he could have a shot at the top 5 in points. TCMC downsizes majorly, going to just Ryan Kilbastion. After losing Maddox Beard, who went up to the Cup for them, they've downsized their Xfinity program. Christian Herklotz moves to Questionable Motorsports. Some other big changes. You have Christopher Law moving to Brandon Pfeiffer Racing. TJ Moon at Fat and Friends United. They might have a chance at the championship. He's pretty fast. So is Tyler J. Stevenson, as well as he's now at Fat and Friends United. And Jacob Quayle will run for Fort Tier Racing. So those are some of the changes so far in silly season, some of the biggest ones.
So I think you missed one of the bigger changes of TCMC, one of their guys leaving. Richard Sheary in the Final Four, going to CWR in the 8 car. That is a very big move, both for TCMC and their kind of like resizing or downsizing, and CWR kind of gaining another driver. I think that's good for them.
He's going to be a threat for the championship, was one of the most consistent drivers last season and made the Final Four, so I think he's going to be a big threat for the championship next season.
All right, anyways, CJ, thank you for all the updates for this offseason. Of course, all the new changes that were made around the NASCAR Racing FedEx League. I mean, outside of any of the other car changes, whatever, format changes, all the driver changes were really big as well. So now moving over to our official special guest of this episode, of course, Season 4 NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series champion, and of course defending champion heading to this season. It is Braden Huntsicker. So Braden, welcome to the show, driver of the number 77, and once again your 5th season for Highline Motorsports. So brand new year, brand new car, but you're trying to defend this title that you won in Miami last month. So what are your thoughts heading into this season?
You know, should be a pretty good season. I'm really excited for it, especially with this new car. It's gonna bring a lot more, just good driving or good racing, I should say. It's a lot better than the next gen. It takes more skill to drive. It's a lot more fun, and it's just gonna bring a wide variety of different skill drivers to the league. And yeah, I mean, it should be a blast. And it's going to be really competitive. So the season's going to be great. It's going to be phenomenal, and I just can't wait.
So, Braden, what is it like actually? Of course, you won the championship, all those celebrations. What is it like having to move on from that immediately and then immediately prepare for a brand new season, brand new car, brand new everything?
I'm just going to treat it like I've never won a championship. Bring that same motivation I had last season, and just looking to go back to back and just rack up as many wins as I can, do as best as I can, and just be the best I can be, I guess.
And yeah, speaking of the car change again, like, is that really a big factor of how this season is going to go for you? Like switching from the next gen or the Gen 7 to the Gen 4. Are you used to the Gen 4 at this point, or do you think you're still going to need just a little bit more practice until you're fully locked in? Until And I think what's going to happen for some drivers is they're finally going to get used to the car like mid-season, and then you'll see some guys kind of start to progress towards the front that are better drivers, just not used to that car yet.
Yeah. I haven't really driven the Gen 4 on iRacing a lot yet. I've been mainly just driving the next gen because of this league, so it's gonna take some time to get used to. It brings a different racing style that most drivers in this league aren't used to. But yeah, start. I mean, when mid-season comes around, some drivers you may not see at the front usually in the next gen races might be at the front there because it may the Gen 4 may suit their racing style better. Um, I mean, of course, guys like Matthew White, Aiden Donahue, Cameron Chandler, they're of course going to be at the front. They're great drivers, but um, other drivers like see. Let's see who's in the Cup Series. We got Michael Gregory. Yeah, he's a great driver. I should expect him at the front in
Oh
my
my
number
gosh.
5 Huntsker
Nice try.
Motorsports Cup ride. So watch out for him. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what this car has to offer, and yeah, I mean, should be fun.
You think it's going to be any different with like you've never had in the Cup Series where you're full time your own car out there racing with you?
Um, uh, I mean. Yeah, it's gonna be different. I'm just gonna treat him like a another teammate, help him when I can, and it's gonna be great.
Now, looking forward a little bit, are you kind of do you want to put your strategy out there of what you're thinking about doing for the Daytona 500, or are you kind of just gonna play it as it goes?
I'm just gonna play how I usually play, just stay at the back, wait for the card and just unfold, and just be there at the end. That's what I did last season, and we were in a pretty good position coming to the final laps. So yeah, I mean, just gonna work with my teammates, and we'll see how it goes.
Anyways, that was your Season 4 NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series champion and defending series champion heading into season number 5, Braden Hunsicker. So, of course, thanks for joining us here. Braden, any other things you want to say before we close this out with you?
Car Motorsports is gonna sweep the championship in the Grand National Series and in the Cup Series. Watch out for Hunsaker Motorsports.
No, no, no. But did you have a driver on the pole in one of the preseason Thunder races, though? I don't think
Preseason
so.
Thunder, yeah, nice try. Nice
Yeah, I
try.
don't think you did. I don't think you did.
None of my
And
drivers even showed up, man.
Yep, shows non-coordination towards the team
Wow.
of Hunsaker Motorsports.
Wow.
well, anyways, thanks for joining us here on the set, Braden, and we'll see you, of course, on track later tonight in preseason Thunder.
Yep. Nice try.
Unreal.
So actually, I want to make an announcement about Fat and Friends United as I am a co-owner of it. Um, Tyler J. Stevenson will not be joining us this season as he has been invited to another series where his contract is too big, so we couldn't really pay it off. So sadly, he won't be joining us for the season or in FedEx in general. So big loss for Fat and Friends United. Kind of sad to say, honestly. And we wish him the best.
Anyways, one more thing here tonight. Of course, going to be talking about some things to expect in preseason Thunder. Of course, it's the start of Speed Weeks. A lot of action coming up on Speed Weeks. 10 days of full action for Speed Weeks that we're going to be seeing over the next couple of weeks. So, of course, tonight in preseason Thunder, like I said, we head to Daytona with the new Gen 4 car. That's going to be so interesting as well. Also, in the broadcast, we're going to be trying out some more musics and stuff, some more other things, some more camera packs that I'm getting from Cameron Chandler at Daytona, so that's gonna be exciting. During then, we're gonna be going all over like the new other things to talk about with the league, the new points format, the new chase, everything that's been changing in the Cup Series. Also, probably be mentioning some stuff about the IndyCar Series, the Truck Series, iCar, all that good stuff outside of the Cup Series that we didn't talk about last night in the Grand National Preseason Thunder. So, like I said, we go to Daytona first, then we head to Rockingham, and then of course Legacy Atlanta, two tracks that we haven't raced on officially in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series before. We did race at Rockingham. That, of course, was with the Gen 7 car, and of course, that was the All-Star race, so really doesn't count too much. And this is the first time we'll actually be at Rockingham for an official points race later this season. All right, so Preseason Thunder should be pretty interesting coming up later tonight. You got to make sure you tune into that. You're going to have all the new drivers and team combos. You're going to be seeing all the test paint schemes on the racetrack as well. It's going to be so fun. And yeah, we really, really look forward to this tonight. Of course, next we've got the Clash week coming up at USA Speedway with Thursday night's Clash for the Cup Series. Then Wednesday we get the late model race coming up for iCar. That's going to be pretty exciting. First time up for iCar. And then on Tuesday we have the iCar Pro Series. And then after that, it's officially Daytona Speed Week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday for the Daytona 500. 6 straight days of Daytona action with the Cup Series, the Grand National Series, the Truck Series, the IndyCar Series, iCar, all the practice sessions, the duels for the Cup Series. There is so much action coming over these next few weeks, even including tonight for Preseason Thunder. So it's going to be so exciting. We're going to have another podcast episode next Saturday after Clash Week and previewing all of the Daytona Speed Weeks. And then we'll have one before the Season 5 Daytona 500, which is on the next Saturday after that. So 2 exciting Saturday episodes coming up for us on the podcast. And that'll just about do it for tonight. Make sure to tune into Preseason Thunder at 9 p.m. Eastern Time live on the Ethan Trendler channel. And that should be interesting. 3 hours of preseason action for the Cup Series here in Season 5. So I am Ethan Trendler. That was Brody Webster. Thank you for watching another episode of the Saturday Sports Shift, the official NASCAR iRacing FedEx League podcast. And of course, for this podcast, we will see you next Saturday after USA Speedway for the Clash. So make sure to tune in for Preseason Thunder tonight for the Cup Series. So we'll see you then tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for Preseason Thunder. Goodbye.